Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Alhamdulillah wa kafa wa salamun ala ibadi alladhina istafa amma ba'd. Fa'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. Wa man ahsan qawlan mimman da'a ila Allahi wa amila salihan wa qala innani minal muslimin. Sadaqallahu al-azim wa sadaqa rasulun nabiyil kareem. All praise is due to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given us the tawfiq and the ability to come early to the house of Allah, so that we can get some benefit of deen ilm knowledge. Previously, in the previous weeks, we had discussed with regards to taqleed. Now we will start with regards to the imams, the imam mujtahideen. The first of the imams, well, it is a grace of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala upon this ummah of Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam that he has undertaken to protect his kitab, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will always safeguard the Quran. There has always been ulama and scholars of deen who would protect the Quran and the Sunnah. That even if the books were to be burnt and everything to be read, but the Quran is always in the hearts of the huffaz, so you cannot destroy it. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has taken the promise that He will safeguard the Quran, He will safeguard the deen. Moreover, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala put people onto the earth who they had to also protect the aqwal, the statements of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the af'al, the actions of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the taqreerat, the lectures of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. For this, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created such a jamaat, such a group of men who preserved a hadith and passed it on to those students who became leading ulama and propagators of deen. They toiled to deduce masail from the glorious Quran and the Sunnah of Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam. They comprehended and understood the nasikh, annulments and mansukh, abolitions, clarified any apparent ikhtilaf, any differences. These people are known as the Imam Mujtahideen. Now, from amongst these synonymous, the great Imam Abu Hanifa rahmatullah alayhi, he was of Kufa. He died in the year 150th year after Hijri. He is contemporary Imam Malik rahmatullah alayhi from Medina Munawwara. He died in the year 179th year after Hijri. Imam Abu Hanifa rahmatullah alayhi and Imam Malik rahmatullah alayhi, they had both met each other and they both benefited from each other also. Thereafter came Imam Shafi rahmatullah alayhi of Makkah. He died in the year 204 after Hijri. He studied hadith from Imam Malik rahmatullah alayhi. So Imam Shafi rahmatullah alayhi was the student of Imam Malik rahmatullah alayhi. And Imam Shafi rahmatullah alayhi also traveled to Iraq and he studied his fiqh, the expertise of fiqh underneath Imam Muhammad rahmatullah alayhi. And who was Imam Muhammad rahmatullah alayhi? Imam Muhammad rahmatullah alayhi was the student of Imam Abu Hanifa rahmatullah alayhi. Similarly, the fourth Imam, Imam Ahmad bin Hanbal rahmatullah alayhi, he died in the year 241 after Hijri. And he was a student of Imam Shafi rahmatullah alayhi. And also he also traveled to Iraq and he also studied underneath a person called Imam Abu Yusuf rahmatullah alayhi, who was also the student of Imam Abu Hanifa rahmatullah alayhi. So you can see the link of the four A'immah, how close they are. That Imam Abu Hanifa rahmatullah alayhi and Imam Malik rahmatullah alayhi, they were more or less of this in the same time. And they also benefited from each other's knowledge, from each other's ilm. Then came Imam Shafi rahmatullah alayhi. Imam Shafi rahmatullah alayhi was born in the year when Imam Abu Hanifa rahmatullah alayhi had passed away, had died. So Imam Shafi rahmatullah alayhi, he studied under Imam Malik rahmatullah alayhi, and he also studied underneath the student of Imam Abu Hanifa rahmatullah alayhi, who was Imam Muhammad rahmatullah alayhi. And after Imam Shafi rahmatullah alayhi came Imam Ahmad bin Hanbal rahmatullah alayhi. He studied under Imam Shafi rahmatullah alayhi. And he also studied underneath one of the students of Imam Abu Hanifa rahmatullah alayhi, who was Imam Abu Yusuf rahmatullah alayhi. So such a close link amongst the A'immah Mujtahideen, the four Imams, how close it is. They said that Imam Abu Hanifa rahmatullah alayhi, he was a youngster. He was born in the year 80th after Hijri, 80th year after Hijri, in Kufa, which is in Iraq, during the rule of Abdul Malik bin Marwan. His real name was Nu'man. Imam Abu Hanifa rahmatullah alayhi ka naam Nu'man tha. That was his name. Nu'man was Imam Abu Hanifa rahmatullah alayhi's name. However, Abu Hanifa was the kunyat, laqab, the title which was given to him. Imam Abu Hanifa rahmatullah alayhi's grandfather, he was of Persian origin and he had accepted Islam, and his son was known Thabit rahimahullah. He was the father of Imam Abu Hanifa rahmatullah alayhi. When Thabit rahimahullah was born, then the grandfather of Imam Abu Hanifa rahmatullah alayhi took his son. He was presented in the company of Hazrat Ali radiallahu anhu, who made dua for barakah and blessings. Thabit bin Zuta was a pious person, intelligent and cultured person. Thabit's son, Imam Abu Hanifa rahmatullah alayhi, was of an average height, extremely handsome in appearance with an elegant beard, well civilized and mannered with a sweet voice. He was able to converse with great clarity and insight, commanding great awe and respect. He dressed elegantly, wore good shoes, and was always clean and well perfumed. By nature, he spoke little and refrained from futile talks, unnecessary talks. He would not involve himself in it. Imam Basharat al-Nabawi, the glad tidings from Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Abu Huraira radiallahu anhu narrated, we were present in the company of our Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam when Surah Jumma of the glorious Quran was revealed, and Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam read out the ayah. I'll read the translation. And he has sent the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam also to others amongst them, meaning the Muslims who have not yet enjoined them but will come. And he, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, is the Almighty, the All-Wise. Meaning Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam has been sent to also those people who are not with him. Meaning those people who are with him were his companions, Sahaba. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam as a Nabi to those people who are to come later as well. From amongst those Sahaba radiallahu anhum who are present, a person requested, O Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, who are those other people who have not yet joined us? Who are those other people that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is mentioned who have not yet joined us? So Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam briefly maintained silence, whereupon the questioner inquired, he asked the question again. Placing his auspicious hand upon the shoulders of Salman Farsi radiallahu anhu, our Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam commented, if Iman be near the 7 stars and the Arabs are unable to stake it, even then one of his Persian people will be able to claim it. So he was indicating in the future that a person will come from Persia and he will be amongst who will, pick up the deen. And similarly is with regards to the other A'immah Mujtahideen, Imam Malik, Imam Shafi, Imam Ahmad bin Hanbal rahmatullah alayhi. Imam Abu Hanifa rahmatullah alayhi was fortunate to meet certain Sahaba radiallahu anhum. Who were the Sahaba radiallahu anhum that he met? Some of the Sahaba which Imam Abu Hanifa rahmatullah alayhi met was Anas bin Malik radiallahu anhu. He met him in Kufa, when he came to Kufa. He also met Abdullah bin Abi Awni rahmatullah alayhi, radiallahu anhu, Also in Kufa he met him. He met the Sahabi Suhail bin Sa'd al-Sa'di radiallahu anhu in Medina Munawwara. He met the Sahabi Abu Tufail bin Amir bin Wathila radiallahu anhu in Makkah Mukarramah. He also met other Sahaba radiallahu anhum by the names of Umar bin Harith radiallahu anhu, Abdullah bin Harith bin Jaza radiallahu anhu, Jabir bin Abdullah radiallahu anhu, Abdullah bin Anis radiallahu anhu, Wathila bin Asqa radiallahu anhu, Mu'akkal bin Yasar radiyallahu anhu, and Aisha bint Ajru radiyallahu anha. These were certain of the Sahaba and Sahabiyat that Imam Abu Hanifa rahmatullah alayhi had met in his time. Imam Abu Hanifa rahmatullah alayhi, he was a very young lad, and he was not inclined towards studying of dini ilm and knowledge, but he was more put into the line of trade and business. He was a young chap, and he was on his way, he was walking, and while present, once Imam Abu Hanifa rahmatullah alayhi was going by, and the great Imam Shabi rahimullah, he once called him over, the youngster, and he said to him, "Where are you going to?" So he said, "I'm going to such and such a place." So so that Imam said to him, "No, I'm not asking you with regards to that. I'm asking you with regards to which Imam are you going to, or which, we would say, which madrasa are you going to study? Which sheikh are you going by?" So he said, "No, I am going to the bazaar. I'm going to the marketplace." So he said, the sheikh told him that I am not asking about the bazaar, but of the ulama inclined towards ilm and the company of the ulama I am asking, for I perceive promise and talent within you. He told him that. So from this divinely inspired message, it so influenced this young Abu Hanifa rahmatullah alayhi that immediately he stopped visiting the bazaar and the marketplaces and debating, because he was very good at debating, and commenced dini studies at the age of 20 years old. Youngster, 20 years old. Some of the great asatidha, ustad of Imam Abu Hanifa rahmatullah alayhi, one of them Imam Shabi rahmatullah alayhi, he has reported memorized and reported from over 500 Sahaba radiallahu anhum ahadith. He memorized and reported ahadith from over 500 Sahaba radiallahu anhum. This is one of Imam Abu Hanifa rahmatullah alayhi's ustads, teachers, Imam Shabi. Once he was relating one of the ghazwats, one of the battles of our Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam. This is with regards to the ustad of Imam Abu Hanifa rahmatullah alayhi. When when he was narrating the incidents, Abdullah bin Umar radiallahu anhu, one of the Sahaba radiallahu anhu, was passing by. He was walking past, and he heard what Imam Shabi rahmatullah alayhi was mentioning with regards to this ghazwat. So he said, he commented, "I personally was with Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam in these ghazwats, in these battles. However, Shabi has more knowledge of these ghazwats than me." Imagine the Sahabi radiallahu anhu who was present with Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam in those battles. He is saying with regards to Shabi rahmatullah alayhi, one of the tabis, the ustad of Imam Abu Hanifa rahmatullah alayhi, that he knows better than me with regards to these ghazwat, these battles. So this was his ustad. Ali bin al-Madani rahimahullah relates the ilm of Ibn Mas'ud's ilm terminates upon Al-Qama, Aswad, Harith, Amru, and Ubaidah bin Qais. Ibn Mas'ud radiallahu anhu, we did previously, he was a khadim, and he was the companion of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Always there on the side of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, get his miswak ready, his water for his wudu, his musalla, his khadim. And the ulum of these noble personalities end upon two people. Who are these two people? Imam Ibrahim Nakhai rahimullah and Amir Shabi rahimullah. And who are these two people? They were the ustads of Imam Abu Hanifa rahmatullah alayhi. Now, Imam Abu Hanifa rahmatullah alayhi, his teaching career and his ifta in the year 96 year after Hijri, after the death of Ibrahim Nakhai rahimullah, who was his ustad, the gaze of the Kufans turned towards Mufti Hamad bin Abu Sulaiman. he was also one of the ustads of Imam Abu Hanifa rahmatullah alayhi. After he had passed away, other ulama proposed and approached the relatively young Imam Abu Hanifa rahmatullah alayhi, that now look, these two great scholars have passed away. Now we have to come to you for deen and ilm, knowledge and fatwa. So saying he bravely accepted the post of tadris, of teaching dini knowledge and iftar, passing of official rulings and decrees. The great Imam was very wealthy and independent by trade. Generous and benevolent by nature, he therefore devoted his full energies towards the back-breaking task of solving and caring for the problems of the masses. He didn't worry about his wealthy background because he had a lot of wealth and he was from a wealthy family. So he spent his time devoted to knowledge and ilm of deen. And despite his huge popularity, Imam Abu Hanifa rahmatullah alayhi shunned publicity. He didn't like to be exposed in front of people that, I am the Imam. He preferred to keep aloof and, private, undercover, a low profile. However, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had willed differently for him. The great Imam Abu Hanifa rahmatullah alayhi once observed in a dream wherein he was digging the blessed grave of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. What dream did he have? That he was digging the grave of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, collecting the bones and placing them upon his chest. This is the dream that he saw. When he awoke, he was terrified of the dream that he viewed, that such a dream that he cried and was deeply saddened that I have had a dream that I am digging the grave of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam and I'm collecting his bones and putting them on my chest. What is this? So he completely stopped from teaching ilm, knowledge, and he stopped going out. Yeah? People were wondering that where is this Abu Hanifa gone to? How come he stopped teaching and that? Is he sick or something? Has he got some illness or something? Later on they found out that this is the dream that he had of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, that he was digging the grave of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, collecting the bones and putting it on his chest. Because of this, he has stopped coming out and stopped teaching the people. Afterwards, this dream reached to a sheikh, a famous imam and interpreter of dreams, known by Allama Muhammad ibn Sirin rahmatullah alayhi. Many people probably know his books of interpretation of dreams written, Allama Sirin rahmatullah alayhi. So Allama Sirin rahmatullah alayhi, he replied and he said, if what you relate is haqq, is true what you are saying, that this dream, whatever you are saying is true, is haqq, then in matters of the sunnah, you will undertake such tasks which nobody before you has achieved. Moreover, you will delve very deeply into ilm, into knowledge. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will give you deep understanding of ilm and knowledge. So this was a glad tidings for Imam Abu Hanifa rahmatullah alayhi. In another dream, he saw Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam appear in front of him and commanded him and said, "O Abu Hanifa, Allah Ta'ala has created you for reviving my sunnah. Allah Ta'ala has created you for reviving my sunnah. Never make an intention to seclude and remain aloof. Don't hide away, don't remain aloof, don't seclude yourself. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has chosen you for reviving my sunnah." So these were great glad tidings for Imam Abu Hanifa rahmatullah alayhi. From then on, the great Imam Abu Hanifa rahmatullah alayhi spent his daytime in teaching ilm, dars and tadris, and the service for the creation for waqf, for the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He didn't take the wealthy material in lieu of that. For Allah's pleasure only he used to teach. And whilst in the night he spent in the ibadah of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, in the worship of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Some of the incidents, Waqi'i commented, I have never met an alim who was a greater faqih or who prayed salah better than Imam Abu Hanifa rahmatullah alayhi. The great Imam was epitome of piety, taqwa, zuhud, abstention, and affectionately mild temperament. He never got hot-headed. Ever willing to help his Muslims brethren. Asad bin Amr rahimullah relates, for 40 years Imam Abu Hanifa rahmatullah alayhi performed Fajr Salah with the same wudu that he had prayed his Isha Salah. What does that mean? He didn't go to sleep at night. From Isha Salah, you would engage in ibadah right up till Fajr Salah. He generally completed the whole of the Quran during the night in one rakah. He would stand up in Salah and he would complete the whole recitation of the Quran. He was generally of the habit of making qaylullah after Zuhr. One of the sunnahs of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, where Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, seek assistance in waking up with tahajjud salah through qaylullah. A person who takes a nap in the afternoon, it will help him to wake up for tahajjud salah early in the morning. So he would sleep in the afternoon for a little while for qaylullah, and that would give him energy to keep awake at night, making ibadah of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. One famous incident is that when Imam Abu Hanifa rahmatullah alayhi passed away, his neighbor's children asked the father that where is that pillar that we used to see on the roof of the house next door? So the father said, "Arey bache, wo koi sutun nahi tha. वो तो इमाम थे जो रात पर खड़े होते थे नमाज में, तो ऐसा लगता था कि सुतून खड़ा हुआ है." That the children of the neighbors asked, after he had passed away, asked their father, where is that pillar gone from next door that used to be on the roof? So the father said it was not a pillar. It was the great imam who would stand at night, the entire night in his salah, so it would seem like it's something standing straight there. So this was his, once the recitation of the whole Quran in the Kaaba, whilst Imam Abu Hanifa rahmatullah alayhi performed a total of 55 Hajj in his lifetime. On the last occasion, on his last Hajj, he required and was granted permission from the Khuddam, from the supervisors of the Holy Kaaba to enter the Baytullah. Once inside, when he entered the Baytullah, he commenced 2 rakat salah. He started 2 rakat salah. And he didn't stop his salah until he completed the entire recitation of the Quran in his 2 rakat salah. So imagine his piety. He always abstained from ghibah, abstention from ghibah. Backbiting has become a common thing. We talk about, wo aisa hai, ye aisa hai, isne aisa kiya, this person is like this, he is like that, he is done that, he does this kind of thing. But we don't imagine how bad ghibah and backbiting is. Once an associated commented Sheikh said to him that some people say a lot of bad things about you, yet we do not hear any comments from you about them. वो आपके बारे में बुरा भला कहते हैं, आप कुछ नहीं कहते हैं उनके बारे में. So Imam Abu Hanifa rahmatullah alayhi replied, this is indeed the fadl, favor of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He blesses whomsoever He wishes. Once the great Imam was informed, he said to one of his confidants that, if I were ever to make ghibah of a person in my life, he said, if I were to ever make ghibah of a person, then I would make ghibah of my mother. Who I would make ghibah of? Of my mother. Why? Because when a person makes ghibah, his rewards will go to that person, and that person making ghibah will get guna, sin. So why should I give my reward to someone else? And if I were to make ghibah, I'd rather make ghibah of my mother than my reward go to my mother. He always abstained from futility. Dawud Ta'i rahimullah relates, I stayed for 20 years in the company of Imam Abu Hanifa rahmatullah alayhi and never once observed him stretching his legs out without his head covered. Whether in public or private, once I asked him, Sheikh, if you were to occasionally stretch your legs in private, what harm is there? If you stretch your legs, there's no harm in stretching your legs. The great Imam replied, to maintain adab, respect for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in private is greater in rank than in public. Once a person intending for Hajj visited Imam Abu Hanifa rahmatullah alayhi and requested some advice regarding which dua to recite when observing the Kaaba. The first time you see the Kaaba, whatever dua you make is accepted. So Imam Abu Hanifa rahmatullah alayhi told him, make the dua that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make you mustajabud da'wat. That oh Allah make me mustajabud da'wat. Because if this dua is accepted, Allah makes you mustajabud da'wat, then whatever duas you make after that will also be accepted. It is azan time. Inshallah, in the coming weeks we'll continue and we will go on with regards to the other Imam as well. Imam Shafi rahmatullah alayhi, Imam Malik rahmatullah alayhi, Imam Ahmad bin Hanbal rahmatullah alayhi. It's very important we know their lives and their backgrounds. Because they were our guidance towards following the Quran and the Sunnah. And they were great shuyukh, great a'immah, and we should have total respect for them. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us tawfiq and ability to make amalan on what has been said. Wa akhiru da'wana alhamdulillahi rabbil alamin.